Dana Perino, long admired for her poise, intelligence, and resilience, once shared a marriage that seemed to reflect everything admirable about lasting love. For 26 years she stood by Peter McMahon's side. No scandals, no headlines, only mutual respect, companionship, and an unshakable sense of calm. "Melissa told me how much she loved me," Peter once recalled of a moment early in their courtship. "And at the end she said, 'Yes, I will marry you.'" That seemingly eternal bond, one many believed would never fracture, ended suddenly and silently in early 2025 when news of their divorce landed like a slap no one saw coming. No scandal, no explanation, just a short statement and an overwhelming question: what happened? Their story began in 1997 on a flight from Denver to Chicago. Dana, young and hungry for a career in politics, sat beside a British stranger 18 years her senior. He was composed, elegant, and quietly magnetic. Peter later admitted, "I was walking behind this cute little blonde with a ponytail swinging and thought, I hope I sit next to her." They talked politics, dreams, fears, things people usually keep locked away, but somehow poured out with ease between them. What started as a chance meeting in the sky became a deep, steady love grounded in real things: long walks in Central Park, late-night calls, and quiet encouragement. A year later, they married in a small ceremony by the English seaside. No fanfare, just a vow to always choose each other. And for years, they did. Even when Dana became White House press secretary, one of the most grueling jobs in Washington, Peter never resented her spotlight. He texted her good luck every morning and listened to her every night. In 2003, on their 5th anniversary, he gave her a Vizsla puppy named Jasper, a gift that became the soul of their home. That dog was their joy, their routine, their reminder of the love they built. But in 2021, Jasper died of cancer, and something unspoken began to shift. Publicly, Dana remained composed. Privately, something was breaking. Peter, once a constant beside her, began to fade from photos, events, and eventually from her life. Her posts grew solitary, captions more cryptic. "We can live a full life without everyone beside us," she wrote in one story. No tags, no elaboration. Friends noticed Peter withdrawing from conversations, replying with brief messages, missing dinners. Dana kept her head high, but a colleague whispered she looked like someone smiling to hide something rotting inside. By late 2024, the silence between them had become deafening. In an October interview, asked about Peter, Dana only smiled and swiftly changed the subject. Then in November, a cryptic post: "Everything has an expiration date. The important thing is knowing when to let go." No names, no photos, but the message was clear. Fans speculated, journalists probed, but the truth was nowhere to be found. Until the news broke. Dana and Peter had divorced, quietly, with dignity, and without public drama. It seemed final. Until a hidden truth shattered everything Dana thought she knew. August 31, 2024. Peter suffered a mild stroke at home. At the hospital, doctors discovered something far worse: stage 3 colorectal cancer. The diagnosis left Peter breathless, not because he feared death, but because he feared what it would do to Dana. He couldn't bear the idea of her sacrificing her career and joy to care for a man who felt he was already disappearing. So he made a decision to let her go before she ever knew why. Slowly, he began pulling away. Less affection, more excuses. He didn't argue, didn't explain. Just a quiet retreat into the shadows of her life. Dana sensed the change but never imagined the cause. "Are you hiding something from me?" she asked once. Peter smiled weakly. "I'm just tired." And that silence, more than anything, broke what they had built. Finally, at year's end, he told her, "We've become too different. Maybe it's time to let go." She signed the divorce papers with no anger, only numbness. But Peter never stopped loving her. He just believed disappearing was an act of love. Then in early 2025, a mutual friend called Dana. The truth spilled out, and it hit her like a thunderclap: Peter had cancer. He had pushed her away to protect her. In shock, she showed up at his door. Witnesses say the reunion was quiet, raw, and filled with unspoken pain. That moment became a turning point. There was no dramatic reconciliation, no vows renewed. But Dana began showing up at Peter's home each morning. No security, no press, just her, carrying breakfast, medications, and the same quiet strength that had once led her through Washington. She never announced their reconnection. She didn't need to. Her actions, turning down public appearances, postponing book promotions, adjusting her life, spoke louder than any headline. A neighbor said, "She doesn't show up like a TV personality. She shows up like an ex-wife who still loves and still feels responsible." Peter, once too proud to show weakness, began to accept her presence. He became softer, calmer, and even smiled more during treatments. There were no social media updates, no posed photos. But in small, everyday gestures, breakfast shared, walks with the dog, holding hands in silence, the world began to understand this was love in its truest, most fragile form. Dana, ever composed, continued a scaled-back version of her professional life. She focused on a children's book inspired by the dogs she and Peter had loved, Jasper, Percy, and Vijlaw. "Writing is how I keep from losing direction," she said once. And Peter, now quieter than ever, gave only one public remark in a health magazine: "With Dana beside me, I'm not afraid of anything anymore." No titles, no official reunion. But two people who once vowed to choose each other were, in the end, still doing just that, quietly, without need for applause. What do you think about Dana and Peter's story? Is this what mature love really looks like, choosing to stay even without obligation, in someone's most fragile moments?